Good morning. Buenos dias. I'm going to be reading from Matthew 28, verses 1 through 10. After the Sabbath, at dawn, on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to look at the tomb. Pasado el día de reposo, al amanecer del primer día de la semana, vinieron María Magdalena y la otra María a ver el sepulcro. Look, there was a great earthquake, for an angel from the Lord came down from heaven. Coming to the stone, he rolled it away and sat on it. Y hubo un gran terremoto, porque un ángel del Señor descendiendo del cielo y llegando, removió la piedra y se sentó sobre ella. Now his face was like lightning and his clothes as white as snow. Su aspecto era como un relámpago y su vestido blanco como la nieve. The guards were so terrified of him that they shook with fear and became like dead men. Y de miedo de él los guardas temblaron y se quedaron como muertos. But the angel said to the women, "Don't be afraid. I know that you're looking for Jesus who was crucified." Mas el ángel respondiendo dijo a las mujeres, "No temáis vosotras, porque yo sé que buscáis a Jesús, el que fue crucificado. He isn't here, because he's been raised from the dead, just as he said. Come, see the place where they laid him. No está aquí, pues ha resucitado como dijo. Venid, ved el lugar donde fue puesto el Señor. Now hurry, go and tell his disciples, he's been raised from the dead. He's going on ahead of you to Galilee. You will see him there. I've given the message to you." No está aquí, pues ha resucitado. E id pronto y decid a sus discípulos que ha resucitado de los muertos y que aquí va delante de nosotros, allí le veréis. He aquí os lo he dicho. With great fear and excitement, they hurried away from the tomb and ran to tell his disciples. But Jesus met them and greeted them. They came and grabbed his feet and worshipped him. Entonces ellas saliendo del sepulcro con temor y gran gozo, fueron corriendo a dar las nuevas a sus discípulos. Y mientras iban a darles las nuevas a sus discípulos, he aquí Jesús les salió al encuentro diciendo, "Salve", y ellas acercándose abrazaron sus pies y le adoraron. But Jesus met them and greeted them. They came and grabbed his feet and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Don't be afraid. Go and tell my brothers that I'm going into Galilee. They will see me there." Entonces Jesús les dijo, "No temáis, id, dad las nuevas a mis hermanos para que vayan a Galilea, y allí me verán." The word of the Lord. Palabra de Dios.
It's not the spring, so why the resurrection story? Do you know what you are doing? A question that I read this week. I was sitting along the bedside of Helen Baumberger. Helen and Elton were there. I was getting to know them. And she shared with me her memoirs, which she has written down. And so I was reading them this week. And one of the stories that she offers, she asks this question to start. Do you know what you are doing? What we do does have significance beyond the immediate, the present time that we're addressing. What we do affects on down the road. Our small individual actions can lead to future realities in ways that are way beyond our knowing or understanding or expectation. Rosa Parks, did she know that when she sat at the front of the bus, we would be celebrating that for years to come? How about the Worm Project? Claude Good, Claude and Alice, missionaries to Mexico for 25 years, working with the Triqui people. And then him returning back to the States, and in his later years, developing what has become the Worm Project, way beyond his expectations. Treatment of a parasite that caused malnourishment. Last Sunday I talked to a man who was working with this project and said that in 4 years they've treated over 43 million people. Who would have known? Who would have known? We don't know what's ahead. We take small steps, trusting. So in this resurrection account from Matthew today, Jesus' followers had no idea what was ahead. In Matthew, there's this interesting progression as we go through this story. Don't be afraid. Come and see. Go and tell. Don't be afraid. You will see. And then eventually, go and tell. It's an interesting progression that helps us to capture a bit of the story, and yet we still sit with this question. Did they know what they were doing? The resurrection story is in all 4 Gospels. It's a story that, in a lot of ways, has a basic, familiar outline that is carried in all 4 Gospels, and yet there's so much that's told in each telling that is different, that is not consistent. What do you do with that? The story was carried on through oral tradition in a way that could very easily have had different tellings, told by different people having different experiences. And yet, this basic outline carries through that story. When we think of resurrection, we think of Resurrection Sunday. We think of Easter Sunday, where we celebrate. We sing, "Lift your glad voices." We say, "He is risen indeed." It sounds very triumphal, right? And yet, the resurrection was not necessarily a huge celebration in the same way maybe the Sunday before or during the triumphal entry. But it's rather, you might say, a sobering recognition of power over death. A quiet celebration of God's power of life and hope, of awe and being in amazement. More of a quiet celebration. In the same sense, this sobering recognition is resting on Jesus' followers as they experience what is called here fear and joy, holding questions and disbelief as they hear. Don't be afraid. Come and see. Go and tell. You know, we can't really meet Jesus without being shaken. We can't see what's truly important in this story, in this encounter with Jesus, without also experiencing fear. You will see Jesus in Galilee, seeing not the triumphal Jesus, but the resurrection Jesus. So the question's asked, how can this be? What will this mean? My life's going to change. That sounds like someone who's shaken, like someone who's experienced a bit of fear. You know, the events at the tomb were amazing. They showed God's power, God's presence. We had the stone rolled away, we have lightning. There was a bright light, an angel spoke. And yet, There was a knowing that the disciples would be hard-pressed to believe this story. I would say the disciples are a lot like Thomas, saying, "Prove it to me. Unless I see the hands, the scars in the hands, and touch the wound in the side, I have a hard time believing this story." So they were invited to get beyond fear, to see and go tell. You will see. We are from you will see. Right now, CMC is in anticipation mode, we'll say. We're wondering, we're waiting to see what's ahead. We have some small steps we've taken, and yet we're stepping slowly and surely, but without really knowing what's ahead. As the women came to the tomb expecting to see, so also we here at College Mennonite, like they, are invited to come to Galilee to see Jesus. In our looking ahead, are we anticipating a crucified Jesus or a resurrected Jesus? Are we filled with dread, with fear, deflated and lost? Or are we willing to engage this idea of come and see? This anticipatory, holy fear. In our anticipation of what we'll see at Galilee, in our anticipation of what's ahead for CMC, are we a lot like the women who, as they were along the road, couldn't help but fall and worship and be in awe of this resurrected Jesus? It may be hard to imagine what it will be like to encounter Jesus in Galilee. We need the voice of those who've been at the tomb. We need those who have seen the stone rolled away. It may be hard to envision the resurrected Jesus, and we might need to touch his scars in order to really believe. I mean, after all, the memories of the crucifixion and the activities leading up to it are too close. They're too overwhelming to even imagine the wonder of the resurrection. So maybe we are living in fear and uncertainty, finding it difficult to envision a hopeful CMC future. But know also that some among us are leaning into this invitation to see Jesus in Galilee. We're anticipating what's ahead, trusting that the story is true, that Jesus really will show up. And because of his showing up, having the audacity to imagine that our lives will change. Jesus stands in Galilee and says, "Come and see me. Don't be afraid." You may have been at the tomb, either in person or by story. You've had the opportunity to encounter Jesus along the way with awe and wonder. The memories of Jesus' life and death are still front and center, though. And it's tough to get by that. And yet now, there's this invitation that we're given. This invitation to take that one step forward to go toward Galilee. To do so without really knowing what's at the end. We know Jesus will be there. In fact, we know Jesus will be there because Jesus promised that. I will be in Galilee when you come. So we hold that promise as we take those steps as CMC toward Galilee. Jesus will be there. Jesus will be there. So in the end, here I just say the question we're grappling with isn't only will Jesus be there, but are we willing to take the step toward Galilee? What will it take to take those steps? Can we get past our need to touch the scars? Can we get past this need to have ability to see wherever we're stepping? Can CMC walk toward Galilee and meet Jesus and walk together? Amen.